It's weird that they make you do this. I'm sure it affects the game somehow, but it's still weird.
Hey, it looks like it's 9:50 p.m. again. Time to play video games. We've been looking forward to this all day, eager for 9:50 p.m. to roll around, sitting there watching the clock tick by minute after minute, until finally, it's time to play the Stanley Parable. Oh, what a sweet release it must be. What ecstasy you must be experiencing at this very moment. I have to know, is it an explosive joy you're feeling right now, or is it more of a beautiful simmering peace of mind? Please adjust the slider to reflect your state of mind. Beautiful simmer, explosive joy.
Oh, I can't wait to find out what this is going to be.
A beautiful simmer.
You could power a light bulb with the sarcasm of these games.
You know, can I just say I'm having a great time adjusting these settings. Feel like I'm learning more about you and how you like these things to be set. It's good to collect data. I wish we had more sliders, but we've gone through all the sliders I have. Perhaps I can invent some new sliders to gather new data on you. Shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, let me whip a couple new ones up. Should be ready by the next time you boot up the game.
Now I'm curious. You log into the game, now you have like 100 sliders.
So many sliders. They're just as fun as buttons.
Health bars. You have to get your health bars.
Hello, people in chat.
Hello.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Let's see.
Stanley's bucket. The only co-worker he would ever truly need. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Oh, you're looking coordinated. A little pink action there. I like it.
Yeah, he totally didn't wash
Still
that
no
red
one
tie
was
with his
there.
white shirt.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever.
Smithers, who was that
Boss's
kangaroo
office
with the
was where
pink
he'd
shirt on?
find answers.
That's Rick Gibson, one of our web commentators, Sector
Staircase,
17.
Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Oh, elevator ending with the bucket this time.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
I'm sure about this narrating for the narrator at this point.
The bucket's thoughts are inscrutable.
Here we are, said
Really know what
Stanley.
I'm thinking.
Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
Thank you, Blazecast, for the subscription.
Yay, thank you.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly. No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
Bucket thinks you're crazy, Stanley.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears, and the whole time he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind, anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator. Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
I wonder if the guy who wrote all this, if he's satirizing specific games or just general concepts in games, or just what in particular. I feel like he's really annoyed with certain things. I don't know what they are though, and I'm curious.
I feel like it's more general. Like it's more just the illusion of choice in most games media.
Okay.
The illusion of choice, the futility of choice.
Stanley, I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
So say, oh, okay, that's different.
I wonder how many hours of dialogue.
This was it.
Writing.
One last
Recorded.
chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
3, that's the magic number. Yes, it is. Popular song. A shockingly three-dimensional character. Tristan Tribert III, 3 stars, 3-star magazine.
Did you know Todd was the third
3
evil
again, 3
boyfriend?
again, the Stanley story.
It's true.
Wish I could actually zoom in. Wish you were here, the freedom ending. I played the demo. 4278, adventure awaits at the adventure line. The storyteller. Stanley reveals all in his new book.
Todd's evil boyfriend of a 3.
There was no
and
one
you
here.
loved number 3. Oh,
Nobody
Ooh.
had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
I really like this voice acting. that just tone of morose and lethargy.
He
So
has
good.
He has that kind of voice that like you can listen to it for this long and not like get sick of it. Like there are other voice actors where, as much as I like them, hours and hours of this, I'd be like, okay, I'm done now.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Also, I'm pretty sure that ending was the narrator just hating Stanley in the last
When
game.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee
If you want to
lounge first,
ascribe
just to
a
admire
big
it.
meaning to every ending, that one is probably
Yes, truly
the
a
developer's
room worth
fears.
admiring, but eager to
Right?
get back
You
to
put
business,
something out there,
Stanley took the first
and
open door on
nobody
his
cares.
left.
Well, it's funny because I felt like he covered that a little bit.
Stanley was so bad at following
the
directions,
beginner's
it's
guide.
incredible he wasn't fired years
And
ago.
with that as context, it's hard to tell if he's
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps
expressing this
we've
stuff
gotten off
sincerely
on the wrong
or
foot here. I'm
just
not
being
your
sarcastic,
enemy, really,
like
I'm not.
self-parody.
I realize
Beginner's Guide was
Okay.
more like, I put something out there, and I don't care what anybody's reaction is.
You think so? You feel like that?
That was what the... Sorry, I can't remember. Who's the guy that actually made the Beginner's Parable and Stanley's...
Beginner's
Guide and
about
Stanley's...
nothing but you.
Not read it, but the guy he was talking about in the Beginner's Guide, that was
Guy
his
in the
idea.
Beginner's Guide was
Do you have
Coda.
zero consideration for others?
So Coda
Are you
didn't
that
care what other
convinced
people
that I
thought.
want
It was
something
reading
bad to
kept
happen to you?
ascribing
Why, I don't know
great
how to
value to
convince
all
you
these
of this,
things, and
but
Coda
I
was like,
really
nah, just do them because
want
they're
to
fun.
help you, to show you something beautiful.
Well,
See, we need an ending that's between
prove
these
that
last
I'm on
two,
your
where there's
side.
just like
Give me a chance.
1 to 3
Now, listen
people
carefully, this is
that are
important.
always showing
Stanley
up that are
walked
the big
through the red
fans of
door.
Stanley.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here,
I heard
let me
the
show you.
exhaustion.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
It's the true ending.
I wonder if one day there's going to be a VR version of this.
Wait, there's not already?
I don't think so.
Otherwise, form a bucket.
There's a fan mod for VR. Apparently,
Okay.
they use the source engine.
Donuts?
Hmm?
I looked up.
Yeah, Drifter Clops, I made that same joke. Rick washed his red tie with his white shirt.
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Ooh.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think. No!
Wow.
Oh, thank God you lived. No. What are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was
Wow.
before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Wow.
Let's take a turn.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
Okay.
Stanley just did it because he wanted to.
There.
Yes. Perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about. I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you? No, perhaps not.
It just gets very dim. Wow.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
It's just a game.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. Do you actually want to
So
stay
miserable.
alive? Or are you just teasing me?
No, I'm just teasing you.
Is it?
I'm going out here to peek at what's happening.
Stanley's like Scott Pilgrim. He has a one-up.
I wanted us to be
Yeah.
happy here, Stanley. I really did. I still thought that was possible.
See, even now, this is the illusion of choice. There's literally only one way to progress from this point.
Yeah.
You can always press the power button. It's the true choice. Right. Turn off the power. Your
No,
console right now.
that's avoiding your choices.
But isn't that
Well, that's-
itself a choice?
Yes. I was going to say that.
It is a choice. It's not a respectable or honorable one.
It's a choice nonetheless. That's why they had the trope, Miller. Take a third option.
Is it over?
Uh-oh.
It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
But yeah, fundamentally in this game, you don't have any choice.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
But neither does the
Stanley
narrator,
decided
really.
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Ty
simply
says
missed
the
a
best
memo.
games know how to wield the illusion of choice. I would say the best games know how to wield the illusion of evocation. That's
When
the
Stanley came
capability
to a
for
set
the
of two
choices you
open
make to
doors,
have
this was not the
lasting
correct way
effects
to
in the
meeting
world.
room, and Stanley knew it
The
perfectly
things you do
well.
cannot
Perhaps
literally
he wanted
change
to stop by
everything
the
in the
employee
world.
lounge
No game
first,
has that.
just
Things
to
have to be
admire it.
scripted. But if it seems
Wow. Yes.
like your choices
This
have
room.
significant changes
What
to
a
everyone else
beautiful
around
room.
you,
What a
then
gorgeous,
your choices seem
gorgeous
powerful.
room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
I think any game that can basically give you a
Stanley,
really
I think perhaps we've gotten off on
give you a
the wrong
good
foot.
cause and effect kind of
I'm
effect
not
with
your enemy,
choice
really, I'm
choices
not.
on the game is.
I realize that
is
investing
good.
your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, Stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
What?
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Ooh. Evil.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Are we playing 12 minutes now?
Good morning, employee 427. Press K on your keyboard.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Press G to watch TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Press K to spend time with the boys.
So he went further. He imagined
Cracking
that he
a
came
cold
to two
boy with the
open
ones.
doors
Yes.
and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Press
Press
I to prepare dinner.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Press R to tell your kids a story.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Press C to tell your wife you love her.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed.
Remember this bit.
The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Press G to go to sleep.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Press R to be at work in the morning.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
That's V to question nothing.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Okay.
That was the apartment ending.
Does anyone know how many endings there are in this version? I mean,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
I do not know.
Stanley
yet.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
I
simply
guess
missed
probably
a
hasn't been
memo.
long enough yet. Someone will make one of those road maps.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
It was, listen, we're not so different, Spider-Man.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Chunk, 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 chunk.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for. Nope, still on board with death.
Oh, I like this. Oh, if I was gonna say more. But I like the way he just looks like, nope, he's on board with death.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
I want to find out how to do volumetric fog like that. Miller, how do I do it?
I mean, it depends what you want it to look like, right? You
wanna
could
look
do a
good.
sort of ray tracing thing, or you could do some trickery.
It has to look like awesome.
Oh, well, like what he has in here, this is just billboard cards.
That's what I figured.
This is like the most simple way to do it. These are just 2D sprites that are hanging out in air, and they get more transparent
Right.
as you
At
walk
this
towards
point,
them.
Stanley was
Right.
making a conscious, concerted effort to walk
That's probably
forward
the simplest
and
way.
willingly confront his death.
It's probably all the original Source Engine had.
That's fair.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Hello, narrator.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When
We're going to
every
the
path
developer's
you
office.
can walk has been created for you
Oh,
long in
yeah.
advance,
There's like a
death becomes
museum.
meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
I mean, the
Stanley-
message the female narrator gives holds value if you only value the destination and not the journey.
And that's
In this
basically
game-
what this game's about.
Yeah, I mean, in this
Yeah.
game, the destination's illusory.
Because it's a game.
Right.
The destination really isn't going to matter. Because what are you going to get? You're going to get the windscreen. That's what you get for beating a game.
Mm.
And the adventure. Me.
That of the two open doors is the very first concrete piece of the Stanley Parable's design. Once this room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it, an exploration of the contradiction this room posed. Office computers.
Game had solitaire on it, you monster.
Button sounds. A selection of the sounds used through the game when buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mix of keyboard stroke and a synthesized tone. Boss's office. Screens from the development of the boss's office.
The red's a nice touch.
Looking at this ending and the bucket's ending at the same time.
Where do you want to go? We did it with the bucket. Comes the bucket
Yeah.
museum instead.
Yeah.
The very first incarnation of the freedom ending in the game's alpha.
I'm just laughing because doing the bucket and then this one, it's like this is the they got power over everybody, even the bucket. The bucket was never the mastermind at all.
Countdown desk. For a time, the elevator in the monitor room could go up or down. The freedom above and countdown below. You abandoned this when players found it too difficult to remember what was up and what was down and placed the two endings together instead. This is the freedom ending as it existed in beta. Countdown room, early version of the countdown room. Monitor room elevator. For a time, the elevator monitor go up or down. Yeah, okay. Game design mock-up. This is a level that William, the level designer, sent Davey, the writer, as a kind of audition piece. Strength of this level got William hired to design the full game. Though much of the environment has changed, the basic layout from this mock-up is still in the game.
Just less natural disaster has blown through looking, and more unnatural disaster.
Stanley's office. From left to right, the evolution of Stanley's office over time. The first was created November 2011, second March 2012, third in February 2013. The lounge. Early version of the lounge. Apartment timer. Previous version, choice leading to the apartment ending. The timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. Cargo lift. Cargo lift was always intended to offer the choice of staying on or jumping to a different path. However, after this early version, we decided we also wanted the option of the player falling to their death.
No, cargo drive.
Cargo sanity.
Second version is functionally the same as what's in the final game, but we wanted it to look more like a place where cargo is actually stored instead of, a Half-Life level.
Yeah, they sort of get a pass by having a weird government black site sci-fi thing.
Maintenance layout. The flow of hallways following the first two doors is important to get right, since players will replay them so many times. We discussed the number designs, but ultimately it was the simplest version that won out.
Obey! 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 Anyway.
Zending levers. These levers were originally part of the Zending. The player would pull a lever and the narrator would describe what color they had pulled. Screenshot depicts an early version of the ending known as Zending, which was eventually cut and merged with another part of the game. Zending model. Zending went through many iterations. This room represents the fourth version of the ending, and we thought it was complete, but decided to abandon and change it shortly before launch. Escape menu. For a long time, we had an ending that only ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Fortunately, very few players realized this was what they were supposed to do, which was frustrating for everyone. Underground, early version of the underground portion of the game.
Stanley stood on the roof.
Narration outtakes. Kevin Briding, voice of the narrator, recorded dialogue for the entire game
Stanley
roughly 3
pushed
separate
the
times
number
over 2 years of
6.
development. These are clips from early takes that were not used in the final game.
He pushed the big red button. Stanley walked over the bridge. Stanley stood on the snow. Now then, this elevator for sure would get him right back on track to where he was supposed to be in the story. Great orange lever.
Early version of the maintenance room. Bunch of money in Stanley's office.
It looks like it's exploding.
Warzone. Early in development, we decided an ending where Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game had become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it that was far too jokey and on the nose of the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. Ultra Deluxe announcements. December 2018, we announced the Ultra Deluxe version of Stanley Parable at the Game Awards. These screenshots of the videos we made for the announcement and the game's delay. Narrator emails. After the second trailer we sent out, we asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned to use these for further promotional materials, we never found the perfect use for them. Here are a selection of those emails.
Are you a rock?
1112800 is... Asking there. Well, the thing I want to know is, what would you do if Stanley entered any other rooms? I have burning questions. For instance, on a scale of Max Ernst to Salvador Dali, how surreal would this game be? Were you born with a magnificent voice, or did you bargain with a magician to receive it? And finally, congratulations. In line with our previous announcement regarding going promotion, here's a result file. Attach file. Carefully see full details of the result. Greetings, omnipotent voice. I like the stereo panel as much as I like seeing humorously small badgers swim in trunks. Indeed, I like it as much as I like walking the park, watching sunset, dare to say it, pressing buttons. Urgent response needed. Phishing email. You're strong, dead strong bad. How do you type with boxing gloves on, Ben?
These guys read strong bad?
What the lights in the control room do? I really want to know. Another phishing email. Hi, Mr. Narrator Guy. It is, what is your message for today? There's a skeleton inside of you. There are more skeletons in this world than humans. Thanks and goodbye, Civ.
Final warning.
Yeah. Am I Stanley? Are you spying on me? I don't. Why? How? Will the game feature capybaras?
I love those guys.
It should.
It should.
Really should.
How do you stay in shape? Sincerely, Michael the Rock Martin.
Quit making up nicknames for yourself.
Are you gay?
Dink dunk.
That doesn't really say anything. Well, the Stanley Parable will have infinite quests. How many endings? It's really gonna let me go shopping. I hope it'll have a fine selection of desert boots.
Ooh, desert boots.
How do you make a JRPG? How do you make the worst game ever? What's the difference between a duck?
One where you bend down and duck, and there's the actual duck.
How is the game going? I hope it is good or better than the first one from a cool man.
A lot of these.
God, I really hope these are actually from people.
Right? These absolutely sound like real emails.
I did that.
They absolutely sound like real Twitter DMs. Completely unprompted. You get a message you're like that, and you're like,
Hi. Do you take
are
commissions?
you? No, Jonas, they never ask, do you take commissions? They say, Oh, do you take requests?
Yeah. That is correct.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Yeah, you're the narrator, Stanley.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Right, turn off the game now. I'll still never forget that. That was like the first surreal gaming experience I ever had.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Calciprese is my favorite dessert.
Calciprese is my favorite JoJo character.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power
Wait,
over
what does it say in the
another
bottom right of that
human
screen?
life. For he
Over there,
would
yeah.
dismantle the controls once
Can't see
and
it.
for all.
I can't see it either. So.
Okay. I think it's just a copyright, but yeah.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
It's just weird.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin.
The graphics outside look beautiful.
The feeling of liberation. The immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
The graphics just went up. The graphics just went up a notch at that moment.
Yeah, it's just the balloon got turned up.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Oh, jeez, of course.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Starting to run
Perhaps
dry,
he
I'm
simply
looking
missed a
up what
memo.
the other endings are.
Wait a minute. Can you go back to your room with the bucket and do that?
No, the door
When
closed.
Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So right back.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door, just go.
Of all the parts, that's the one where he's just like, go through them this like 10 times. Just come on.
Okay, so it looked like the bug in the warehouse.
Stanley
doesn't
walked straight
exist
ahead
anymore,
through
but
the large
bug in
door
the mind,
that read
mind control facility still
facility.
exists.
Huh.
The bug?
Yes, it was originally a bug.
What was it?
Can
See? Out of bounds?
Oh.
there we go.
Oh shit! Bye!
Huh.
Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. Welcome! You see, back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the mind control facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. And you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours. So here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more, more. And I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game, with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are. We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
Good job, you did it. Good job. 3, 2, 1. Good job, you made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. You jumped on the catwalk. You should have been careful. You should have been careful. It used to be a bug, but now it's an ending. Now it's an ending. But I believe in you. I believe in your ability to cross this barrier and chase your dreams. But railings don't mean anything. Good job, you did it. 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 Good job, you did it.
That was beautiful.
Now we do it with a bucket.
Yay!
All of his co-workers were gone.
Maybe there'll be
What
another
could it mean?
song.
Alright, I'm back.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Is Stanley, without the bucket, really Stanley at all? No, surely not. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I want to see it be the same, but the only music or the
Still
only
no one
instrument
was
they
here.
use is cowbell.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find
It's going to be
us. Coming
basically
a
the
staircase,
same, but he's
Stanley
going to
and the bucket
chastise
walked
us for
upstairs to the
wanting even
boss's
more new
office.
content just by dragging the bucket along.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place? But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall. Now, what to do next? Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis. But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility. This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending.
Those burnt
This made
paninis
no
on the
sense
floor.
at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible.
Yes.
Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
As the bucket was hiding all that stuff in his cap all the time.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find him. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door.
Yeah, that was a regular
Well.
skate pod ending.
Chat's right, it is very eerie without the narrator.
Very
Disconcerting, even.
Well, the narrator is the only human element in a liminal space. You take him away, it's just a liminal space, you know? I mean, you could say Stanley's a human element, but I mean, Stanley's not really a person, you know? Stanley's just
He's
sort
barely an avatar.
yeah, he's sort of a proxy.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, to
Dispute-
unlock the epilogue, you need to fully restart Ultra Deluxe itself until you're no longer receiving dialogue from the mysterious person who really likes sliders and experiences the collectibles ending.
So you just have to restart the game again and again?
Yeah, we need to get talking with the not narrator.
Oh,
Do I need to quit out?
I
probably.
think you have to keep.
That's what it sounds like.
I think you do. Because this only happens when you start the game up, right?
Yeah, the person who keeps asking you the time and then says, "Oh, sliders are so fun."
Oh, you mean the captions?
Also, one thing that I missed that I don't know how to get anymore. You need to take the bucket through the new content door, but the new content door is not appearing for me anymore.
Yeah.
Please adjust the slider until the dog and cat are friends.
Oh,
Ah.
grape nut.
Grape nut.
Oh no.
Please adjust the slider until the number 5 becomes a number 9.
Nobody loves Grape and Max anymore.
9, close enough. Please adjust the slider until you stop adjusting the slider.
GC's all low in the world.
It has a bunch of dust in that texture right there. Which of the two made-up words below is most appealing to you?
What can I say? 'Em?
Obviously.
Yes, say them, Jonas.
Occupinkle and Scrumtush.
Grumtush.
Scrumtush. Good choice.
Please don't adjust the slider. Do you know what time it is right now?
It's time
Yes.
to love.
Grumtush sounds like a part
Is the
of
time
the
that it is right now the
Jabberwock.
correct time? Yes.
It sounds like
What time? What is time anyway? No. Is there anything about yourself that you haven't told me? Yes. Help.
No.
Will you come back to visit me?
oh my god.
Sure.
Quit the desktop to go say hi again.
Yes.
What did you say Scrumptious sounds like, Miller?
It sounds like a part of the Jabberwock's body.
Oh god.
It's not just any tush. It's a scrum tush.
Scrumtush.
Sometimes
It's how
It's like a
they
piece.
it's how the Jabberwock does his software developing quickly. Because he has a scrum tush.
I thought it sounded like one of those.
What time is
Norwegian,
it? Does anyone really truly know? Of course they don't. Nobody knows anything. You and I don't even know each other. We're like strangers. Sure, I've adjusted all the game settings to your exact specifications, but who hasn't? It's just what I do, like a day job. And now the job is over. There's no more information for me to gather. I've collected all the data on you that I can, and I still don't really know you. And you don't know me. And neither of us know what time it is. I guess some settings are just unsettable. But if I'm being totally honest, the clock doesn't do anything in the game anyway. You won't have me here when the game starts next time, but that's okay. Video games are meant to be played alone. You like being alone, don't you? That's maybe the only information I really learned about you. Well, it's time for me to leave. There is still one more setting that we need to adjust, but it may take a little time before I'm ready for that. Not really my job description, but that's okay. Perhaps you'll see me again if you can find me. Talk soon.
Scrumtush is like softer scuttlebutt.
Epilogue.
Oh, the epilogue.
So this is it. Ish.
Scrumptious is like a taste. A new level of taste. A scrumptious taste.
Many, many years later. Oh, we're back here. The original ending of the Memory Zone.
It's like Burning Man. I'm just gonna take this as the ending to the game, even though it's not.
You're Obi-Wan Kenobi? Oh,
But
Now we're on Mars.
oh, this because Stanley forgot to press the button.
Stanley decided to go on vacation to Australia.
Well, he spent most of his life
Yeah, I was
pressing
gonna say
buttons.
I was kind of expecting what is it, Uluru to appear in the horizon.
Oh, is that the memory place?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think it is.
Can you push
No, I don't
skip?
think so. Yeah, no, this is the memory. The first original.
Oh,
is the Memory
okay.
Zone. Okay.
Gotcha. Generator? That's generator?
That's a generator from Left 4 Dead. Wow.
Stanley Parable 2.
So it is a sequel.
Pretty sure they did that as a way to preempt people from asking about the sequel. Just make the expansion pack the sequel at the same time.
Well, I think
Is that
it-
Monopoly card?
Now it would be too confusing if you made a Stanley Parable 2. Cookie Nine's blog. Review, The Stanley Parable 2. Like so many, I enjoyed my time with the original Stanley Parable, which underscores how truly disappointed I am with its sequel. Where the first game teamed with originality, The Stanley Parable 2 is dull, uninspired, and often insulting to its fan base. Rather than expand on what made the first game enjoyable, the sequel veers off into a territory nobody asked for. An infinitely deep hole? Who cares? Where are the new endings? What about enjoyable bits from Stanley Parable 1, like the adventure line? Instead, we get an uninspired side quest collecting figurines. Even this diversion feels incomplete. Collecting all the figurines gives you nothing. I must say, though, I found the bucket to be quite comforting. A welcome reprieve from... A guy in review, The Stanley Parable 2. Recent comments. Let's see. Recent post, review, Stanley Parable 2. Sorry, haven't been blogging too much. Review, SNRAF3. Protected post, Cookies Corner. We need to talk about sequels. Archive, September 2027.
This almost feels like
The thing I'm thinking here is that the creator of this had plans to create a Stanley Parable 2, but realized that what he had at first was lightning in a bottle and he would never be able to recreate it. And if he were to try to make a sequel, it would take decades.
Cat dog born.
Scientists confirm hybrid species.
So
someone
basically he ended up cutting it down until he realized, oh wait, this doesn't really work as a whole separate game. The only thing I can do is literally build on top of what the Stanley Parable already was by literally building it into the game.
Jim.
Stanley Parable developers, no more spin-offs, no more sequels, and the Stanley Parable launched a massive success in 2013. Its creators made plans to build the property into an entire franchise, but disastrous critical and commercial reception to the Stanley Parable 2 has prompted the developers to rethink their ambitions as outlined in a press release they published today. It's clear that more Stanley Parable is just not what the fans want, reads the press release. We thought we had a vision of the series that the players would be excited about, and yet it turns out this could not have been farther from the truth. Press release goes on to promise to preserve the artistic integrity of the original game and to stop assaulting fans with our reckless and insulting creative visions. The word sorry appears more than 25 times in the press release. Something aggregate review scores in video game history. Second.
Sign up for updates.
Get on the green.
Get on the green.
Real web.
Only to ET.
Guys, I went green because I need to evolve my gaming.
Jim.
It's gonna be hilarious if one of these just had a different name on it.
Jim.
I'm still holding out hope that one of them just goes read house pets.
Jim. Stanley.
There it is.
I had a feeling one of them were going to do it.
The subversion of expectations. Truly the height of all comedy.
More Stanley figurines.
Well, Steam game or Valve games are usually good at doing that, subverting expectations.
I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for us to end up back at the office.
We are back.
Here we are.
Thank you for enjoying the new content.
Now this feels really liminal.
What you doing, Rick?
Hello again. Nice to see you. But it's terrible to learn that there will never be another Stanley Parable game. Did you read what the developer said? Preserve the integrity of the franchise? What nonsense. Stanley Parable is not sacred. We do not need to protect it. Screw the legacy. Let's keep making Stanley Parable games until the sun explodes.
Yay!
Let's run this franchise into the ground. Let's drag it through the mud and back. And if people hate it, who cares? You see, that was the narrator's problem. He was so obsessed with what people thought of his work. Don't make his mistake. Don't cling to the legacy. Let it burn. It's not hard. In fact, let me show you. Together, we are going to make the Stanley Parable 3. It's simple.
Ooh.
All we do is change the number in the game's title screen. We also need a really dumb subtitle for the game, something loud and gaudy. Go ahead, try combining some random words together and make a new title for our game. Stanley Parable 3,
Attack on telephone.
Attack on Telephone.
Yes.
Attack on Didgeridoo.
It's even
Yeah,
worse.
we were just in Australia.
Yes, Attack on Didgeridoo. Stanley Parable 3, Attack on Didgeridoo. It's absurd, I love it. Every time you restart the game, we'll advance the number of the sequel by 1, and we'll pick a new subtitle. That way, Stanley Parable will never end. Nothing in the game itself will change either when you do this either. Adding more content sounds like work. No need to do that. It'll just be the same content recycled again and again and again with a new title screen. What do you say? Should we go forward with this plan? I like it, but I want you to have a say as well. Okay. Good, then it's agreed. New sequel every time you start the game. You know what? Since you put faith in my idea, I feel like giving you something as well. You see, I'm noticing that the narrator never found a way to give you the broken achievement, did he? Of course not. I wouldn't expect him to know how. It's been bothering me. Let's fix it. Alright, there. The achievement machine is all fixed. You see, I'm on your side. We're in this together. We're going to keep this train rolling. Stanley Parable cannot end. It can only spiral in on itself forever. Must keep the wheel turning. I'm ready. Are you ready? Great. There's only one last thing we need to do. Please enter the current time.
You already see where this goes.
We are spinning. Where we are going, no one knows.
Please adjust the slider on the computer is barely visible. Thank you. Please enjoy the Stanley Parable. 3.
I love it.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
This is the
All of
story.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content door open.
As Stanley lifted his bucket, he felt a connection to all buckets everywhere.
Yes.
This adventure, he decided, was for all of them.
We're breaking something here.
New content? What does that mean, new content?
We're doing something that's not meant to be, Rick. Ooh.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Wait, Stanley, I've just now realized. That bucket you're holding, it's the bucket I've been working on for my sequel. How did you get your hands on it? Isn't this the preview to the sequel? How do you have the bucket already? This makes no sense at all. Hold on. Did I already show you my ideas for the sequel? I don't remember doing that at all. You're seeing things all out of order. All
It says
right.
bucket section.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Uh-oh.
They'll have no jumps remaining.
That's why, because I got the bucket, of course.
The infinite hole, the giant door. Did you see them already? Stanley, none of them are ready yet. I'm still developing them. They're not even close to finished. How did they look when you saw them? Were they captivating?
dizzy.
Were they exciting? Did they fulfill on the promise of everything that a sequel to Stanley Parable could possibly be? Had I figured
is
out how the
reminding me
hell
of
to make a
another
sequel to
game.
this game?
Is it the Stanley Parable?
Yes, Jonas.
Cool. I guessed it.
Wait, if you're still carrying the bucket around with you, if the bucket is interesting to you, that means I must have made it correctly. Yes, you carrying the bucket with you everywhere is exactly what I set out to accomplish. The bucket is the exciting and captivating new content that I promised. I did it! I win! I made a sequel to the Stanley Parable! Yes, the sign is correct. Thank you for enjoying the new content. Thank you for taking the bucket everywhere with you, clinging tightly to the bucket, never letting it go. It means I've won. It means I am victorious over the gamers. It is a sweet salve of victory on my soul. Thank you for enjoying the new content. The bucket is the Stanley Parable now. They are one and the same. There is no Stanley Parable without the bucket. I win, 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 I win.
God.
I beat the gamers. Oh boy.
All of
It
his
sounds like
co-workers
someone
were
had
You're
a
not
bit of a
supposed to
conniption.
punch
me.
down, narrator.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Sounds like someone had a bit of a
Perhaps he had
conniption
simply
after
missed it.
releasing
What
their
new
game.
mysteries lay in store for our bucket-loving heroes today? Let's find out.
Turn to Stanley Parable 2 Expo Hall.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Now we get into the doppelganger effect.
Wait, there are 2 buckets here? How did you get a second bucket? Oh no, the warmth and comfort of a single bucket is already so great, so intoxicatingly wonderful. With 2 buckets, there's no telling. Stanley, can you still hear me? Are you with me? Stanley! Oh, thank God.
No!
Stanley, the power of 2 buckets was too much.
The bucket!
I had to destroy both of them. I know how much the bucket meant to you. But
No, it's gonna be Stanley 2 Buckets
I
McGee!
hope one day you can forgive me.
Stanley 2 buckets.
Sad now.
You couldn't pick up the handle, right?
No.
So that could you, narrator.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
Even unlock test achievement, please ignore.
As you can see, the machine is not working yet since... What? Wait, what in the holy hell is going on? You got the achievement? Why did the machine work? Stanley, I didn't fix it. I didn't do anything to it. I swear, it was broken just a second ago. Who fixed it? Is someone here? Are we being watched? Oh, God. Composure,
I wonder if you'll figure it out.
Composure.
I don't think you
Yes,
will,
as you
but
can
still.
see, the machine is working as normal, as I intended. It truly speaks to the awe-inspiring magic of the Stanley Parable 2. Breathe. Just breathe.
Freaking out, man. Freaking out!
I hope we can figure something out.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? Aha! I can see you've gotten the Settings World Champion achievement. Well done. You've experienced every setting, traveled to all corners of the settings menu. There's nothing you haven't seen. So, just for you, in the Stanley Parable 2, I'm including an entirely new setting, something called bumpscosity. What exactly is bumpscosity? Well, I haven't quite figured that part out yet, but I just know that you'll be able to adjust it on some sort of slider, and that it'll be available from the settings menu. We'll sort the rest of the details out later. I hope you're looking forward to trying out every... An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the... well, we'll figure that out later. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean?
Out of order,
But the
you've been here
Stanley
already.
Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now? So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Different balloons up this time.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating
Holding
gags, but they
achievements.
don't add up to anything.
Floaty Steves.
I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Looks like I can't take any more of this, Stanley. The Stanley has gone too far.
This game's an experience. This makes you just question life.
Now we gotta keep playing again until the Stanley Parable 2000 happens.
Stanley Parable 4.
Danger of ice cream? Forgotten ice cream?
Atomic ice
thank
cream.
you. Quarterly thank you.
Quarterly, thank you.
Aw. So nice. to get the
Forgotten
quarterly
thank you.
This is your contractually obligated quarterly.
The danger of thank you.
Danger of thank you.
Yes.
It still says Stanley Parable. You have to actually load it and then go back.
This is the... All of his co-workers were gone.
Okay, that's weird.
Well,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain. There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable, and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. You too will become quite unbearable.
oh no!
Throwing his
I
lights
don't know
out.
if my microphone can pick that up, but I'm clapping. Or maybe I should be snapping. That might be more appropriate.
Don't worry, Miller. I'm sure we'll all snap pretty soon. It almost starts like the fishing level, the swimming level from Mario.
See, I'm hearing the I don't remember what the name of it is, but it's the song at the beginning of Disney's Robin Hood, the whistling song.
Oh, the
Oodle Ollie?
Oodle Ollie, yeah. You know, whenever I do a Robin Hood picture, people they're obligated to quote the movie in the comments. It never fails. It's just one of those things.
It's you got to do it.
Apparently, it's like an instinct. It's like a swarm instinct.
We have to let you know that we also saw that movie.
Yeah, just like Tremors or Terminator. Or anything with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it.
Exactly. Whoa! What the?
Ooh.
I think you need to wind the phonograph back up.
I think that's it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had... Now this, Stanley thought to himself, this is a bucket. And indeed it was.
Oh yeah, I just realized. Yeah, we start the game over again. That's right.
Yes.
We're at another sequel.
What's left at this point, though?
Rick says he was looking at a list of endings.
Oh, yeah,
just to
that's
get
right,
through them
yeah.
all.
I'm pretty sure. Hold on, let me check something. Collectibles ending. Epilogue, going back up. Here are the endings, which are altered by the reassurance bucket's presence. And to avoid spoilers listed by the names used in the sections above. Apartment, bottom of the mind control facility. Broom closet did that. Cold feet, confusion, countdown. Elevator, escape pod, freedom, Mariella, museum. New content, not Stanley. Out the window, powerful. Vent, what is a bucket?
Apparently, I read that Ultra Deluxe, if you do the confusing ending, the Stanley Parable Adventure Line will have the sequel name on it.
First, complete the memory zone ending.
Hey, I'll turn in their chat.
There once was a place known as Chat. They like to listen to the game like bats. Ah. I used to. Back in
There
high school, I
once
used to
was a place called Chat. They used to be horny for the bat. But when he grew big and stomped all around, they found that their heads went splat.
Oh, that's not so good.
Once was a place known as Chat. They like to listen to the game like a bat.
I'm gonna
But when they hear about the bucket, when they found a game with a bucket, they listened to it like a trucket, and once... Jeez!
Confusion, cold ending, cold feet ending.
I'm so rusty at these. I used to do them all the time pretty well at school. But then I came up with some really weird ones back then at school too, though, and I was like, huh? But
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Finally, yes, the bucket. Yes. I love that bucket.
I'll be right back. Hold on.
Yeah.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
evening, DJ and
Here
Fire.
it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift,
see.
yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
All right.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way forward is down, since the lift won't be coming back, but that's okay. You've got a bucket. Did you know that buckets are routinely used as cushioning devices? It's true. You can fall on a bucket from literally any height and survive.
That's a pillow.
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I've forgotten that had different dialogue to it.
So before we're done tonight, we should show Jonas the apartment ending with the bucket.
Meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Didn't we just do the
Perhaps he
apartment?
wanted to stop by the
I don't think
employee
Jonas
lounge
remember that one.
first,
30
just
minutes
to
ago.
admire it.
Now, the
No, we
apartment
did-
ending
Wow.
was
Yes,
when you answer the phone.
This room. But eager to get
Yeah.
back to business, Stanley took
But
the
that
first
wasn't
open
with the
door on his
bucket.
left.
Oh, with the bucket. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or test your luck by jumping to the floor below. You know what? Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it. Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Can you get to that path over there?
Path? Yeah, we've done that.
All of his
Can't show you
co-workers
it.
were gone.
This is
What
different.
did it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah.
When Stanley
Sometimes that
came
just
to a set
happens.
of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. Back! How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Dark mode.
One man, one bucket, one chance to seize their destiny together.
I love it.
Sadly, no cat noises. Ah, but the dogs work.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Jonas back?
Good,
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley
Every time
did
he
not
says
question
no
why
in
or
the
how
bucket
this
voice, I
was
think it's
speaking to
Miller.
him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets.
That's what you think
talk.
I sound like?
But Stanley chose not to think about.
Not that you sound like, but like
He
if
was
you were
firmly
doing
convinced
that
the
type of
bucket
voice,
had
that's
spoken
what
to
you would
him,
sound
and
like.
he unthinkingly
Now
did
the
whatever
bucket said.
asked.
Yeah, see, he was right.
That's what you would sound like if you sounded like that, Miller.
In here,
said the bucket.
Thank you.
go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone,
Said the bucket.
pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
427B. Hello, Stanley. It's me, your bucket. Press K to take me to work with you.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Stanley doesn't know is that the bucket has a wife named a Kettle.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me. Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think. It can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Don't listen to the loud man. Press H for us to go back home.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Press O to ignore anyone in your life except for me.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley?
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
You live the same day with me over and over.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Press N to go home to work to home to work to home.
Oh no. I'm having feelings. For the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps, if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
Uh-oh.
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
Go back to work, Stanley.
Buckethead is pleased.
It's amazing.
Okay, I think that's all that we can squeeze out of this game now.
All right.
This feels like a horror game that evolves into a shitpost.
No, it's a shitpost that evolved into a horror game, honestly.
Oh, bucket posts.
I agree with Rick. Definitely feels like the shitpost came first.
Brain, no, can't. Okay.
Well put.
Aljo's thinking about his buckets now. Fan art
Yes.
buckets.
Exactly. I don't even know anymore. I eagerly await the sequel.
Okay, Rick, you know what that
Yes.
means.
You're gonna wait another 9 years for that?
No,
I
we just
mean-
make it right now.
Sure.
Yeah,
Why not?
we already played the sequel.
Yeah, we're gonna play the Stanley Parable 5 now.
Then I await the DLC.
And then 6, 7.
That's what every
I'm-
Elden Ring player is saying right now.
Oh god.
Just awaiting the DLC.
Yeah. Still want to play that game again, but ooh, is that? Oh, I thought that was this for a second there.